Welcome to Seattle College's international programs and our show Conversations With, where we talk to people that help you understand how you too can be an international student in the United States and why Seattle Colleges should be your first choice. We'll talk to students and staff and agents and government folks, all kinds of people about what you can expect when you're getting ready to apply or travel here, what you'll experience while you're with us, and how it can all lead to an amazing life. Don't forget to check out the Seattle College's International Programs website at intl.seattlecolleges.edu, where you can find a treasure trove of information about the school, the programs here, and best of all, fill out and submit your application. Again, that's intl.seattlecolleges.edu. Hey everybody, welcome back to Seattle College's Conversations With, here in beautiful Seattle, Washington. Different kind of guests today. Normally we have students on the show, but today we have a whole different kind of a thing. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, tell you who they are and why they're here, because it's really important information. Welcome, guys, to the show. How are you?
Thank you very much.
How are you doing?
Doing well.
Good. Not from Seattle, right?
No, I'm from the Midwest.
Oof, long trip.
Kansas City specifically.
Mm-hmm. So you're a Royals fan?
Chiefs fan.
Oh, Chiefs fan. All right.
It was a tough season being a Chiefs fan.
Not for Seattle.
I wish I had been from Seattle.
Seattle was good. We're talking American football if you're out there in another country. But yeah. Cool, yeah. And you're not from the Midwest, though, right?
Correct. Not from the Midwest, from the East Coast originally, but I am up from Los Angeles.
All right,
where
great.
I've been for about 10 years, yeah.
Okay, well, let's start off so these guys know who you are. Tell them who you are, your name, and let's tell them who you work for and what you do for Seattle Colleges and for the students that come here.
All right, Evan. Great question. Let me start with that.
Sure.
I know who I am. I'm Mike Lewer, and I'm the CEO of now a third-generation family business called the Lewer Companies. Mm-hmm. My father started that business. I am a member of the second generation, and then I have a son and a nephew, and they have a team that's emerging. Mm-hmm. The individuals like Jim in the third generation. It was my father's vision to create a multiple-generation family business, and it looks like we've been able to accomplish that objective. And what we're involved in is managing a relationship with many of the universities, especially here in Washington. As part of the history of this Lewer family business, we began the Lewermark program, which is a health insurance program designed specifically for international students that are attending universities and institutions, colleges, K-12 in the United States. And it began here in Washington 35 years ago, here in Seattle. This institution is one of the first institutions that Lewer started working with the Lewermark program 35 years ago.
Wow.
So it's so rare, for me to be able to come out and have a conversation with one of our client relationships that goes back 3.5 decades.
That's a long time, yeah. So wait a minute. So you live in the Midwest, but you started in Washington?
We did.
Why?
My father had a relationship with an individual that was involved with a number of the community colleges here at that time.
Okay.
And 3.5 decades ago, the Washington community colleges were in the forefront of attracting international students that were interested in coming to America to experience and to commit to becoming global citizens, getting a global education.
Cool.
And so this individual had begun working with some of the institutions, and they had dramatic growth in their international student populations. And they identified fairly early that something that was important for these international students was to make sure that in the event that they had a medical emergency, that they had good coverage, that they could get the care they needed in the case of an emergency, and get them healthy, and get them back into the classroom. And so So that was the individual wanted to basically put together a group program that the schools would then offer the international students and make sure from the day they arrived till the day they left that they would have good coverage.
So, parents, feel good about your student being here. They're going to be taken care of if something happens to them. That's really great. And we didn't get to introduce you yet, so tell everybody who you are.
Yes, hello. My name is Jim Bueno. Hard to follow, Mike, but I'll do my best. And I am the director of our West Coast consulting team here at Lewermark. So based in Los Angeles, I help support our clients up and down the West Coast, as well as consulting with new schools to help them find what might be a good solution for them to fill some of those needs that Mike mentioned earlier.
Right. So if our staff has an issue or problem, they're not calling Mike, they're calling you.
They're calling me, or they're hopping on our live chat with one of our student or client advocacy advisors, where they can chat instantly with a real person.
Cool.
So we've got an amazing team in Kansas City who are a lot smarter than I am. But I'm here to support out here on the West Coast.
Sure.
But we've got an amazing team in our Kansas City headquarters. Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, I always like to start with where you came from and what kind of education you got. A lot of the people watching the show, they're looking to just start their education. You guys are already educated people, obviously. Where did you start your undergraduate? Let's even go back further. Like, where'd you go to high school, and then where did you end up going to university?
So if I could start off by saying, when you say I'm an educated person, I'm a generation ahead of you, but I'm still very much involved in becoming an educated person.
I love that. Lifelong.
And especially, for example, a great example of that is AI.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm very, very interested in kind of what's going on there. But my beginning education, my formal education, was in attended school there in Kansas City. At that time, it was Rockhurst College, a Jesuit college that was there in Kansas City. It's now Rockhurst University. It became a university a number of years ago. When I entered Rockhurst College, it was a men's only institution, and I was there for the first year that they admitted women as well. So that's where I went to school, and since then I graduated from that college quite a few years ago and entered the family business as the second generation of the business.
So did you study business? What was your major?
It was economics. I also studied philosophy.
Oh,
I was very interested in that as well.
So when you went there, you did all 4 years, and then did you do anything after you got out, like an exchange or?
Something that was important to me was I wanted one of the challenges in a family business is to establish your own track. Not basically, not necessarily live in the shadow of your parent, your father.
Right.
So I wanted to have some independence there, and so my father and I sat down and talked about that. We were talking earlier about rebels.
Yeah.
And so I ended up moving to Canada.
Oh.
From Kansas City, I moved to Calgary, Alberta.
Love it.
We were just establishing a business there that was involved in working predominantly with the petroleum industry.
Okay.
And so I lived in Calgary a number of years, and then I moved from there to Mississauga, a suburb of Toronto. So I spent my first decade in the family business kind of doing my own thing, basically, as far as helping to establish a business in Canada.
Right. So I guess I'm a little. So Lewermark, the company, Lewermark is who provides our insurance to our students, is just one piece of a larger family business.
It's a very significant piece. It has become the most significant segment of the family business.
Gotcha.
And we're still creating, still learning, we're involved right now in creating a student program in our Canadian operation.
Oh, yeah.
So we've kind of stepped beyond the petroleum industry, and now we're very actively engaged in developing a student health insurance for the international students that are attending the institutions in Canada.
Right. Wow, cool. How'd you like Calgary? How'd you like living there?
We loved it there.
It's so great, isn't it?
Yeah, we loved it there. It's a bit like we spend a lot of time in Colorado and the Rockies. It's a bit like Denver.
Exactly. Yeah.
And Toronto's a bit like Chicago from my perspective. So if you like Denver and Chicago, you will like Calgary and Toronto.
Yeah. I always say if I win the lottery, I'm moving to Banff, Lake Louise, which is not too far from Calgary. One of my favorite parts of the world. It's just amazing. Yeah. Check it out.
We have 2 children, and Nicole, our oldest, was born at the Foothills Hospital in Calgary.
Oh, really?
So we have a Canadian in the family.
Yeah.
And she, so that's, we have some very fond memories of Banff and Lake Louise and Jasper.
Yeah, for sure.
And with respect to international education, both of our children, we have the 2 kids, Nick is in the business. Both were study abroad students.
Okay.
So Nicole went from St. Louis University to Madrid.
Nice.
And spent a semester in Madrid.
Mm-hmm.
And then Nick, who went to University of Portland, ended up with a semester in Granada, Spain. And then he followed that up with a semester in Perth, Australia.
Oh, cool. So they both speak Spanish then?
Yes.
Both,
and our grandkids.
How's your Spanish?
Speak Spanish. I took Spanish.
Yeah.
Not very good. I just haven't had enough opportunity to use it.
Gotcha. And where did you go to school? Where'd you go to high school, just out of curiosity?
Yeah, so I went to a small Catholic high school in New Jersey where I grew up. Relatively small town. Connected to the elementary school. So same gym, same cafeteria for 12 years or so. Which was lovely. Small. I think I graduated high school with 130-ish, students. Sure. But great experience.
Yeah.
And then from there I went to a small state school in New Jersey called Ramapo College. It's kind of right up on the border of New Jersey, New York State.
Right.
So kind of right in the foothills of getting up into the Catskills. So really pretty part of the state. Mm-hmm. More to New Jersey than Newark Airport for anyone out there who's unfamiliar. But yeah, it was actually a community college when it started back in the 60s. Hey. Yeah, and then it kind of developed into a 4-year, one of the more attractive, I think, state colleges in New Jersey.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Did you go on and do a master's degree too? Or?
I didn't. No. I graduated and was kind of pretty eager to kind of get into the workforce. Yeah. Relatively close to New York City, and so I interned in New York, and kind of the path forward is getting to the city. That's where all the action is. That's where all the opportunity is.
Right.
The recession of 2008 kind of waylaid my plans a little bit, but eventually we got there.
Yeah. Interesting time to start. Yeah.
Indeed.
So what did you major in?
Business administration and marketing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Cool.
And I took some philosophy classes as well.
Did you?
My first semester, I kind of started down that track. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Why? Just out of curiosity, why did you start down that track, and then why did you leave it? Did you think, I'll never get a job, or did you?
I think I tried to build in, if I recall, some electives that were kind of in that, that vein. Yeah. It just felt like a good way to explore outside of just kind of the meat and potatoes of the more technical stuff into just kind of a broader, to Mike's point, like lifelong learning, right? Just more exploring general, knowledge and other things that are available.
Yeah, I know a lot of. I went to law school, and a lot of the people that were preparing for law school, a lot of them would take a lot of philosophy classes in preparation for that. So I think it's a good thing to do. Take philosophy, just asking the bigger questions of life. We're talking about AI. I just recently read a book called Life 2.0. Have you read this book?
Yes.
Really interesting, but there's so many ethical, philosophical things to think about when you're talking about AI, for example. So really interesting. I'm glad you've read that. That's really great. Interesting.
I need to put that on the list.
We'll talk about that later. Yeah, definitely. It's on audiobook too. Okay. So if you're an audiobook listener in LA, I would think a lot of time in traffic. So, or do you work from home?
To know. I work from home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we avoid the traffic as much as we can.
Nice, nice. And are you in LA proper, or are you like in Culver City?
I'm in Culver City, actually.
Oh, you are in Culver City. Wow.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yep, home of NPR.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yep. And the old studios and all that. There's kind of a very rich movie history in Culver City.
Okay, and I know this is not related to this podcast at all, but let me just ask. Brushes with greatness. You're in LA. You must be running into movie stars all the time, right?
Not all the time, but not infrequently.
Okay.
Yeah, not infrequently. We had one of our very good friends was in a yoga class with, I am going to date myself and pronounce their name incorrectly, but Chappell Roan, the musician.
Okay.
Some of your listeners may know who they are. Very popular.
Cool.
But that's kind of been the biggest sighting in recent times.
Nice.
Yeah.
Travis, have you run into Travis?
I was just thinking about him. Have not run into Taylor, but
No, that's
yeah.
too
Actually, we have run into Travis occasionally there in
Wow.
Kansas City. He spends quite a bit of time there locally.
bad. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And just so you guys know who that is, famous football player here in the United States. So now, okay, so we're not here to talk about movie stars stuff. We're actually here to talk about two things. You guys obviously are our provider for medical. We've talked about this already to a very small extent. We're going to talk about it more. But also, we're here to talk about a scholarship that you guys offer to our students. So we'll save that for now. Let's get into the medical side of it. Tell us, when a student comes here, they pay a fee. And do you have an idea of how that fee gets set? I mean, do you guys set the fee and we just collect it for you? How does that work as far as cost goes?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, it's based on the quarter, right? So the students are enrolling quarterly. The pricing is established with the institution.
Great.
And when the student pays their fees, that's part of it, right? So they're paying the institution for their tuition and other fees along with their medical insurance. Once that's done, that information is then sent over to us at Lewermark, and at that point, the student's enrolled into the program. Right. So super easy. They don't need to take any action with us directly at that moment, and that all happens at the level between the college and Lewermark.
Right. Now, you said you were getting into the state of Washington. There's a big landscape here of educational institutions. So I'm guessing you guys provide this for other community colleges in the area and for other universities as well?
We do. Okay. Yeah, we now have, over that 35-year period that I referenced, we now have a couple hundred institutions across the United States.
Okay. Well, I like this show to be about not just, obviously we want them to come to Seattle colleges, but let's say they decide they would really rather go to, Skagit Valley Community College or something. So my question is, so you have a couple hundred different institutions. If they go to a school with you guys, how will they know it's you? A lot of times you show up, you pay your fees, and you don't get a whole lot of other information. What do you guys do to connect with the students right away?
Yeah, good question. So, we work very closely with our partners at the institution. Oftentimes there's lots of information on their website so they know how to get in touch with us. This is what your insurance program is. This is, potentially why you have it. Right. And then we're active with orientation as well.
Yes.
So that's educating the institutional partners at the college as well as the students is a really big part of what we do outside of just, here's what the coverage is. If you have questions, contact us, right? We try to be super proactive and educate the students on, this is who we are, this is how we can help you, this is why this is all important.
Right.
So orientation is a big part of it.
So I'm employed by Seattle colleges. They give me a little insurance card with numbers and stuff. Do our students get a card?
They do.
They do?
They do, yeah.
So look for your card, guys.
That's right.
When do they get it? How do they get it?
Yep. So good question. Super important. So we're paperless. So they're not going to get something in the mail.
Okay.
Once they're enrolled into our program, they can go to our website, lewermark.com. And so you can pretty much do anything that you would need to do, like get your ID card from our homepage. But we do have a dedicated page for Seattle Central as well as the other Seattle colleges as well. So they can navigate to that page.
Gotcha.
Once they're enrolled, they can create an account with us. So they're not required to do that. We always strongly encourage that they do. Once they get into their account, they can download that ID card. So it's an electronic document. I always say at orientation, save it to your phone. Take a screenshot, download it, print it, however you want to keep that card with you. Super important that they do that.
Right. And if you're from another country, you may not really understand the importance of this card, but I know when I've been to the emergency room, I'll give the person my card. Is that what they're doing with your card? Are they showing up and they're just producing this so that the people know who's insuring them?
Yeah, absolutely. So it basically tells whether it's the hospital, the pharmacy, urgent care, a doctor's office, what to do with those charges for the service that they're receiving. Right. Which is to send it to us, basically. Yeah. So there's pertinent information on that card that will tell that provider how to send that claim information, which is what we talk about claims. It's the charges for that service, which is to send that information to us. So If they're making a doctor's appointment, they might be able to upload that beforehand, potentially, since everything's pretty electronic these days. But at the pharmacy, ER, those unexpected situations, they'll show that card, or they can even email it probably to that provider in real time.
Right. Cool.
So Evan, something that I think is relevant to that point is when you think about the medical providers, which could be a hospital or an emergency room or a clinic or a physician or a pharmaceutical, a drugstore. They're most of the providers in the Seattle area are familiar now with Lewermark and this program that's being provided to international students in this community, and that's, I think, an important aspect of this. And then the other aspect of this is when they're using certain parts of the program. There's something called the network. There are networks, and that's a little unusual, in the marketplace in the United States. You don't find that model all around the world. And so it's important that students are know where the network is, and they're using the network. Those providers are familiar with the program.
Gotcha. So let's say they get outside of our community, though, like they've got a weekend coming up, or they're between quarters. So let's go down to Los Angeles and go to Disneyland, and they get hurt while they're in California. Is that a big deal? Can they get covered while they're in California?
Totally, yeah. So that same network that Mike referenced applies all throughout the country. So it's a massive network.
Gotcha.
So yeah, wherever they are in the States, they'd be able to find a provider who's part of that network. And they're actually covered worldwide, I'll add, too.
Oh, I was just going to ask that question. Let's say they go up to Vancouver for the weekend.
Yeah, so that the network would be different, right? So at that point, they're likely not going to be in that network. But they are still covered worldwide.
Okay, so if they go snowboarding up at Whistler in British Columbia, and they, God forbid, they fall and hurt themselves, they're okay. They go to the hospital in BC, someone's going to pay for their... Gotcha.
Right. Yeah, the network is maybe one way to think about the network is when you're in an emergency environment like the one you just described.
Right.
You can go wherever it's appropriate. You go.
You just go and get
you
taken
don't have
care
to be
of.
checking a network
Right.
if you have an emergency.
Okay, so so you guys know we're talking about two different things. There's emergencies. Then, I just need to go get checked out at my regular doctor or whatever. So if they just say want to have a physical, every year, I try to get a physical. Yep. If they want to do that, is that covered?
Yeah, it is. So there are benefits under the plan for what we call wellness care or preventive care. Right. So other things we'll talk about. If you get hurt, if you get sick, injuries, accidents, sicknesses, wellness is a big component of the plan too.
Gotcha.
So if they do need an annual physical or immunizations, TB testing, things like that, there are benefits for those wellness coverages under the plan.
Would it include travel immunizations? Like, let's say they needed a yellow fever shot for some weird reason.
That is a good question, and I think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We don't see that too often with international students.
Yeah. But, like someone coming, I don't know, it's a good question. Maybe they're going to Mexico and they just want to be extra careful. I don't know. I know that on my plan, sometimes travel immunizations aren't covered, but I know every insurance plan is very different. So let's say they get strep throat. Do they just go to and they can't get in to see their doctor because they're busy? They don't want to go to emergency room because that's really good. What do they do in that kind of a case?
Yeah, really good question. So probably the most convenient thing they could do is one of the things that we include with the plan is virtual care.
Oh.
So super cool. They have access to 24/7 virtual care through a service that we partner with called Teladoc. Which is kind of synonymous with telehealth at this point.
Sure.
Teladoc's probably the largest, if not one of the largest providers of that type of service.
Right.
So once they're enrolled into our plan, they can create an account with Teladoc. There's a super easy app that they can use, or they can go to the website and they can connect with a physician 24/7 with language support available.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
And so really good starting place for something like strep throat. Where they could potentially be prescribed antibiotics or very low-grade kind of medications like that are able to be prescribed through Teladoc. So really great place to start is virtual care, especially if they're, in their apartment at 2 o'clock in the morning and are feeling kind of crummy, right?
Yeah.
Another good option is urgent care or a walk-in clinic.
Sure.
So we always kind of talk about that at orientation. Urgent care is a great option for students because you don't have to wait for an appointment.
Right.
You might be able to make one, but you can kind of just walk in and get the care that you need.
Right.
Yeah.
So Teladoc, so for strep throat, they need like amoxicillin or some low grade kind of thing.
Right.
Can they write them a script via Teladoc?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's great. So you can get your prescription through them.
Yeah.
Very different than if you're in Nepal where you can just walk up to a pharmacy and pick up whatever you want. In the United States, it's a little different, so they can get that through the Teladoc. That's really good to know.
It
That's
is.
awesome.
There's some limitations, on the types of medications they can prescribe and for when.
Right.
But for things like amoxicillin or things like that, those are some of the common things that we see.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I mean, these are young kids, usually not going to be getting super sick, usually. I mean, of course, there's probably definitely exceptions to that. But yeah, most kids I talk to are in great shape, so that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Have interviewed a few people for the show that have got hit by a car or hurt themselves when they're hiking or something. But of the number of students, let's say of every 100 students, how many are actually ending up using the service? Is it pretty busy?
That's an interesting. That's a very very relevant question that we were just visiting with one of the schools here this morning.
Yeah.
And we talked about that very issue. If we were having this conversation 20 years ago, my response to that would be, out of 100 students, 10 to 15 of them would actually use the plan over a period of 1 year.
Okay.
Now, if they're here for another year, then 10 or 15 of those students would use the plan.
Okay.
That was 20 years ago. So but today, today it's more like 30 to 35 students would use the plan in any given year. One of the reasons why
that's coming.
Is Jim's already referenced the wellness. The wellness program is built into the program to use.
Right.
It basically is reinforcing the goal we share, which is to keep them healthy and keep them in the classroom.
Yes.
And so that's using the wellness program effectively. It helps us to accomplish that objective. So it's rational that more of the students would be using the plan.
That's really interesting. Yeah. And we want you to know, I mean, I don't know about these guys, but I want you to know that we have other things to support that are outside of what they do. We have our gyms. Definitely go get your exercise, get out there and stay healthy that way. We also have a lot of internal resources for, say, mental health. So make sure you also take advantage of the other resources that aren't necessarily connected to insurance. What about mental health, though? Let's say they use our infrastructure here. They go talk to a counselor, but they need something a little bit more. Is that something they can do with the insurance they get through you guys?
Yeah, totally. Really important part of it, actually.
Okay.
So outpatient care, inpatient care, we do cover mental health under the plan. So they'd be able to see a counselor, psychiatrist, psychologist. So absolutely.
Good to know.
The other kind of part to that is going back to Teladoc. So we do offer mental health support through Teladoc as well.
Awesome.
So similar app, same app, similar program. Where they can speak to those same type of individuals that they would see out in the community. So counselor, psychiatrist, psychologist,
right?
Along with coaching, along with other kind of self-guided resources.
Sure.
Which is a really great resource for them too.
Is there a limit to the number of sessions or the amount of counseling they get or whatever? How is that controlled?
Yeah, so on the virtual platform Teladoc, there's no limit.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and just to stay on that for a moment, I always encourage students to just use Teladoc for advice if they need it, right?
Right.
Should I go to the hospital? Should I see a specialist for this or that?
Yeah.
So no limit on how much they can utilize that. We encourage them to use that as a resource, not necessarily for that immediate treatment. Right. But to your question about mental health, then outside of that, under the insured part of the plan, they're covered for up to 30 visits per year for outpatient care.
That's amazing. Yeah, and just so you guys know, if you're in another country and you're thinking about coming to the United States, we're pretty open about mental health here in the U.S. I've lived overseas, and sometimes mental health isn't really talked about as much, but here we want to encourage you to take advantage of our resources here at the school, your insurance resources. We want you to be happy and healthy as you're. That's already a big thing to move to another country. That's just overwhelming. So, but yeah, if you get stuck and you need some help, it's okay. We can help you out. That's really great. I want to know about, what about, let's say you're here on an F2 visa. Your mom or dad is the one going to school here, but you're kind of just being there as part of the family. Are the F2 students covered as well?
Yeah, good question. So on the plan that we have with the college, it's for students only.
Okay.
But we do have options outside of that plan that we can help the child or spouse get covered under.
Great. Yeah. Excellent. I'm guessing that's an additional fee that they pay per quarter, or is it per year?
It works differently. Yeah.
Okay.
So it depends on the plan they choose, and they can choose the time period. And there's some other moving parts there, but our team's great at guiding the family to the right plan for them and for the right time period.
Gotcha. We're on a quarter system here at Seattle Colleges, but I'm guessing you guys work with schools that are on the semester system. No difference really, just the fee structure's a little different. How does it differ, if any way?
Yeah, not terribly so, other than what the cost is for that time period.
Okay.
Right. So it's the quarterly cost would be less in most cases than what a whole semester would be.
Makes sense.
There's a little bit more administration, I suppose, from you're doing 4 enrollments potentially, 4 orientations potentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, as Mike mentioned, we've got a significant portion of our business in Washington.
Yeah.
So we're quarters, semesters, any other odd programs out there. We've seen it. We've done it.
Yeah. I went to the University of Arizona, which was a semester system. So when I came to work at the community college and I had to shift my head to quarters, it was a little odd.
Right.
And if you're coming from overseas and you're not really familiar with that, it can be very confusing. So I just thought I'd ask you that question.
Good question.
So do you provide insurance to domestic students at all? You said no earlier, right? This is only international.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a very, very specialized area, and we recognize that. And in fact, if I could, Jim mentioned team, and so the folks that are part of the Lewer family companies team that is engaged day to day with the students and the clients that we have, as Lewermark clients. Are in many cases they've come from international backgrounds.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So they understand the kind of the engagement between a rather complex medical system.
Yeah.
We admit here in America,
it's complex.
It's more complex than other countries in many cases.
Yeah.
And the fact that the students are typically English is their second language.
Right.
Typically. And then you have kind of the experience that folks at Lewer have had in the classroom themselves. Many of them have been in a classroom. They've been teachers and administrators, and so and they've been in many cases international students themselves.
Right on. Yeah. Okay, so I need to move on to the other stuff, but I just want to wrap up one more time. A lot of our students are here. They're using your insurance while they're studying, but all of a sudden they get to the end of their 2 years here at community college, and maybe they want to do OPT. OPT, if you're not aware, that's the way you can put your education to work in a job for up to a year. So you do your first 2 years at community college, do OPT for a year, and then you go on and do your junior, senior year. But that time period that they're out there working, are they covered by you, or do they have to go find private insurance somewhere?
Yeah, good question. So they can be. Yeah, so they are entitled for up to 12 months of coverage for OPT, up to 24 months of coverage if they're on STEM OPT.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so it's coordinated between us and the institution.
Right.
So they would pay their premium as they would normally when they were enrolled. And they do need to make sure they do that within 60 days of graduation.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a student who's graduating and they're not going to stick around. They're deciding to go home, but before they go home, they are allowed to stay in the country for I think up to 30 days on their visa, so they can go to Disneyland or Grand Canyon or something. Are they covered for those 30 days, or does coverage end at the last day of class?
Really good question. So the end of the quarter for coverage might vary depending on when the actual quarter ends. But in your situation, that's a really good example, because if you do have a student who's returning home, they finish their program and they're returning to their home country, we do offer up to 30 days of coverage at no cost for that student as they're exiting their country and finishing their program.
Right.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
So you're okay. You don't have to worry too much. If you're walking to the airport and you break your ankle or something, you'll be okay. All right, very good. Let's say you have a student. We actually have experience with this because we had a student and they got pregnant while they were here. Covered?
Yes.
So you can have a baby in the United States and it'll be covered by the student insurance.
It will, yeah. So there's some moving parts there.
Okay.
But yes, if that pregnancy occurs while they're covered under the plan, then that pregnancy would be covered. Correct.
Great. Let's say I'm kind of a wild man student and I decide I'm going to go jump out of an airplane because my friends are like, let's go parachuting this weekend. And they have an accident while they're parachuting. Is that covered?
I'm going to guess that the parachuting is not covered.
It's not covered.
There's some extreme, and it's common, right? Certain adventure sports, extreme sports. I'd put parachuting in the extreme sports category. But on the flip side, if we're talking about skiing on trail, snowboarding on trail, snorkeling, things like that, those types of things are covered. And we list that all very clearly in the plan information.
They do, and I'm glad he said that. I mean, I was kind of setting him up because I knew the answer to this question already. There are certain extreme sports that are not covered, so make sure you check before you go do something crazy. Like I don't think scuba is covered, if I remember correctly, looking at your site.
It might vary based on depth. There's
depth.
It's similar with like mountaineering.
Maybe,
There's certain provisions with like mountaineering that are covered and not covered.
Right.
Those are rare things that we see. But again, it's all listed out.
Yeah. But we are in the Northwest. It's one of the best outdoors communities around. So, if there's something you want to try while you're like mountain climbing, I know I've talked to students who've gone out there and tried it. And so just check to make sure that do you guys have like additional things you can add on to the plan if you want? Like, let's say you want to increase the amount of coverage you have. Can they pay an extra fee to, I don't know how it works. I'm not an insurance guy, but can they do that? Could they say, look, I do want to do this, but I also want to be covered. Is there like an extra rider or whatever you guys call it?
Not specific to the group plan that we have with the college.
Okay.
There are other individual plans that are out there that we might be able to help them with.
Gotcha.
But it's not something that can be directly added to the college plan.
Right. Yeah. I know that's super rare, but I just thought I'd ask.
Yeah.
And last thing, as far as insurance goes, nowadays it seems like everything is on the web, of course, but even more so, they want me to do it on the app on my phone. You guys have a Lewermark app that the students must use or can use?
Yeah, good question. So that Teledoc service has a great app that they can use.
That's all.
We don't have an app at this point for Lewermark. Site's super user-friendly.
Right.
And we're actually relaunching our site in the next few months
cool.
to make it even more easy to navigate, more user-friendly.
Right.
So we're excited to roll that out in the next couple months.
All right. So website for Lewermark, app for Teledoc.
Correct.
Great. Wonderful. So let's talk about the next piece, which is the scholarship. You guys are generous enough to offer a scholarship. Is it every year or is it twice a year? How often do you do this scholarship? And what is the name of the scholarship?
You want to run with that one?
Well, I can start with it. I think we're both going to probably
Sure.
contribute to the answer to that one. The scholarship was something that emerged in the organization, I want to say maybe 15 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And somebody in the organization came up with the idea of putting together a scholarship for our schools that were part of the Lewermark business. And something that really was interesting for me personally was as we put together the scholarship, and as I remember the first objectives of the scholarship were to reach out to students that wanted to apply for the scholarship and answer the question, what am I going to do basically with my international education? How am I going to make a difference in the world with my international education as a global citizen? Mm-hmm. And what I didn't anticipate was the interest that came, the number of applications that came in, and it was a 500-word essay.
Oh, yeah, okay.
500-word essay.
Mm-hmm.
And it became such an event within our company because we established a small committee to review these hundreds of applications that were 500-word essays coming in terms of answering that specific question. And by the time the finalists, the final 10 or 20 were selected from that group, mm-hmm. we had Kleenex boxes scattered around the meeting room. Everybody was. It was an emotional experience, and it really helped everybody in our organization really connect with who these students are, mm-hmm. and what they've committed to, in terms of coming into our country and their families, the commitment they've made. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, we've been continuing that process, and what we then did is, up to a few years ago, it was really all basically funded by the Lewer family. Mm-hmm. But then we started inviting our other service providers. Putting together a program like this involves quite a number of other what I call stakeholders. So you might have other companies like telehealth or other companies that are providing the services that make up a holistic, integrated plan for these students, the wellness provisions, that sort of thing. And so we have other stakeholders now that are continuing to contribute to a growing fund of scholarships. And so I think then, Jim, if you want to cover what the latest scholarship.
Yeah, and I mean, and even in my, it's grown so much, it seems like even in the past few years since I've been with Lewer, which is about 4 years, the quantity and the frequency we've been able to do it. So at this point, we run a scholarship in the fall and we run one in the spring.
Okay, that's right.
So it's been twice per year. Mm-hmm. And the prizes have increased with some of those partners. I think we've been able to be even more generous in recent years. But yeah, twice per year. Yeah.
And how do they get word? It must be on your website, I'm guessing. They can just go on there to find out information about the scholarship.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are pretty diligent about getting that information out to our institutional partners, like Seattle colleges. But yeah, it's always right on our website. We usually have a big banner on our homepage, and the students can access that application right there. So there's usually always one contest either running, or we've recently announced the winners of the previous contest. Right. Which we also list out. If you go on our website now and click through our current contest, you can view all the winners going back, I think 7 or 8 years.
Oh, wow.
Or something like that. Yeah. So I always encourage students, if you need some inspiration, you can see what other students have done.
Right. So I always get asked, like almost every student that walks up to my table when I was just in Columbia, students come up, they always want to know, do you have scholarships? Mm-hmm. The answer is yes, we do have scholarships. We have the Foundation Scholarship, South Foundation, but we also have the Lewermark Scholarship that you can apply for. How many entries do you get per, you do it twice a year. Mm-hmm. Each time, how many people are they competing against?
A couple hundred, I would say.
Yeah. Okay. The low hundreds.
Yeah.
All right.
I would say.
That's still quite a few.
Not thousands, but the low hundreds.
And that's from all over the U.S.?
It is.
All right.
Yeah.
And then how many winners are selected?
So it varies. Yeah, so it varies. It varies year to year. Okay. I think for this upcoming one, and I've got our flyer right here,
look at this.
Which I'll leave some in the office with Evan here.
Cool.
So we'll have 7 winners of $3,000 each.
Oh, 3,000.
3,000.
Oh, that's much more than I thought.
Right. So sometimes we'll offer more winners with a slightly smaller prize. Sometimes we'll offer fewer winners with a slightly larger prize to kind of mix it up a little bit.
Right.
And I think in the fall we had, I want to say 5 or 6 winners.
Yeah. Wow. Mm-hmm. And was one of those someone we know?
They were. What? Yeah. Yes. So we had a student right here from Seattle Central. Uh-huh. Her name was Mai Win. and she submitted a wonderful essay. I'd love to read part of it.
Please, it'd be awesome.
I've got it queued up on my phone here.
Well, he's got it. Well, he's getting it out. I just saw, people ask, oh, well, there's so many people I'm competing at. Will I actually win? The answer is yes.
Yeah. And I'll add too, one of the most fun parts that I'll say about my job is being able to connect with students this way.
Yeah.
And so when we do get down to the winners, we share all the winners we have a Monday morning town hall meeting with our whole company.
Okay.
And so we'll either read the essay, we'll watch the video, and it's amazing to see what students are doing. So
nice. Very
rewarding part of the job. Okay, so I'm just going to read a part from Mai's essay here. And she talks about the contest last fall was how has music played a part in your life, essentially.
Wow.
And so she talks about the role of music in her life. So she writes, over time I've realized that life isn't a solo performance, it's a symphony. Each person we meet plays a different instrument, carries a distinct rhythm, and joins for a measure or two before the song changes. It's the contrast of the friction of sounds that shouldn't fit but somehow do that creates beauty. My younger self wanted to lead, to be heard, to make the melody clear. But living between cultures taught me that true connection isn't about being louder, but listening deeply enough to understand someone else's rhythm. That's how I've learned to see people. Not as notes to be corrected, but as tones to be balanced. We orchestrate our differences in the way artists turn pain into color and poets turn silence into verse, transforming what could have separated us into something beautiful.
What?
Right?
It's amazing. Isn't it?
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Nice job. That's really great. Wow. The topic, that's a great question. How has music changed? Because I bet you saw all sorts of different approaches to that question. She did a very nice job. Absolutely. So how did you guys come up with that particular topic? Because it changes every time, right?
It does.
Yeah. And I think for some context too, I think the contest before that was food related.
Oh.
And so it was talk about, foods from your culture, create a menu. We have a committee within our office that sits down and, we've got some regulars on that committee and we invite other people to participate. And we brainstorm, different ideas that will be, exciting for the students to participate in. And we go from there.
That's wild. Yeah. How many? I should have asked you guys this. How many total employees do you guys have throughout the company?
We have in the U.S. operation, we have about 50 employees now in the company.
And of those 50, how many are actually in the Midwest?
And about 45 are in.
So you're one of the rare.
That's right.
Yeah.
Nice. Special, we'll say.
That's right.
Well, that's cool. So, all these people that are hearing that we have this scholarship available a couple of times a year, they're like, the obvious question is, well, how do I do it? Where do I go to apply? Or what do I got to do to apply? Do I have to show my grades? Or is it just the essay? Do you want a resume? What other things?
Yeah, really good question. So, always on our website, right? So when the contest is available, they can navigate and click through that opportunity. Super simple application. So basic information, name, student ID number, and so on. It's not grades based at this point. Maybe one day, we'll do a contest related to that. But it's generally been a mixed media of some kind.
Gotcha.
And so I read Mai's essay, but we also had some video submissions from last time. So we even have in the office physical objects that people have created.
Really?
Yes, for certain contests that are on people's desks and throughout the office. We've got artwork hanging in the office from scholarships. But so it's a variety, and we'll list out on the application what for that particular contest they can submit. So it's anything from literary, photo, video, sculpture, and so on. More creative, the better.
That's super cool.
Yeah, and letters of recommendation are also welcome and are helpful in that process. So they can, if it's assuming it's not a physical object, they can upload it as part of their application. And that's typically what students do. So very simple application. They upload their file, or if it's a video, they can provide a YouTube link or however they link it. And super easy. Yeah.
Okay, so if somebody's watching this, but they end up not coming to Seattle colleges, let's say they go to Paducah State University or something, and you guys don't provide coverage for that school, can they still apply for the Lewermark, or do they have to go to a school that is a Lewermark school?
Yeah, good question. It is open to any international student in the U.S.,
Anybody.
regardless if it's a partner school or not.
Interesting. That's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really good to know. Let's see. I want to make sure I get all these right. So let's say they win. Do you guys just mail them a check, or do you deposit into their account here at the school?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how does the money work?
Yeah, you nailed it. So if they do win, we confirm their enrollment with the school.
Okay.
It gets applied directly to their student account, and then it could be used for the following semester.
And can that money only be used for tuition and fees, or could they say use it for rent?
They can use it for anything they can use their student account for, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
if
whatever
they're staying in the
tuition and
dorms,
fees are attached to there, yeah.
It could do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or we don't offer a food plan here at this school that maybe another university
Right,
does.
or books, or
books, yeah.
potentially what goes through that account.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, this might be silly, but like, would it also include things like subscriptions to an online thing that they have to do for school, as long as it's covered? Well, so what you're saying is, if it's something that they could do, they could use that money for that. I know that's
Yeah, if it goes through the bursar's office here,
Right.
essentially,
Then it's
right?
good.
Yeah.
All right, good to know.
Yeah.
Wow. Can they apply multiple times? Can they do, like, if they won in the fall, could they apply again in the spring?
They can.
They can.
We have had some students win multiple times.
Wow, there you go. And they could do it for all 4 years of their education. So they could do 2 years at community college, and then they go on to wherever, and they can keep applying.
Yeah.
Is there an application fee?
There's not.
So it's all
fee.
free. You just put it in there.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really interesting. So you have these committees. How many hundreds of applications? Are you reading every single essay? Because that's a lot of essays.
Yes. Yeah, there are folks in the organization that we kind of rotate. You sort of serve.
Sure.
Each year we bring another team in, and there's a process where they review all of them, and then they basically get to the point where they select maybe 10% of them as finalists.
Okay.
And then there's a committee that specifically then looks at those finalists.
Very cool. And then if they win the scholarship, are they obligated in some way to do like press work, or is there something that they're obligated to do because they won the money, or they get the money and that's it, we're done?
Yeah, I think the only obligation I would say is that they agree that we can share their submission on social media.
Gotcha.
And on our website.
Great.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's really the bulk of my questions for the scholarship. I want you guys to know that it's out there. Check out their website, not just for medical stuff, but also scholarship opportunities, and make sure you actually apply. That's really great. Anything about the scholarship I haven't asked you that I should, that you also want them to know?
Well, now that you asked,
yes,
one thing I'm thinking about, Evan, is there could potentially be somebody in your audience that has won a Lewermark scholarship in the past, and something that we were just talking about this morning as well. Something that we're very interested in is connecting with students that have won Lewermark scholarships and are now out there, in terms of pursuing their dream relative to their education and their opportunities from that. And we would love to connect with somebody that won one of our scholarships 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and kind of where are you now? That's something we'd be very interested in doing.
So you can get in touch with me, Evan.Franulovich at seattlecolleges.edu, and I can put you in touch with these guys. Or you go to their website, I'm guessing. There's a contact us kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So you want to give them the link one more time, or the URL for your...
Yeah, it's lewermark.com.
Easy.
Lewer, mark.com.
Super easy. Very good. Going back to OPT, I had asked about can they be covered during OPT. Ever have international students come and do their OPT at your company?
Yes, actually, that's a great question.
Yeah.
We actually have had some experience. We have an individual there right now who is very actively involved in our data analysis, and we also have had some people in our financial area.
That's
have
great.
that background.
So if they wanted to do OPT with you, do they just contact you and say, hey, I'm an international student? I mean, how does it work?
Yeah, so essentially they'd apply as any other individual would on our careers page.
Okay.
For sure. And they go through that application process
right.
As any other employee would. But yeah, we're always eager and interested to be able to provide those opportunities.
Right. And it could be any of the jobs listed. They could apply for anything that's as long as it's within their area of. But a lot of these students, the thing about that is, a lot of these students are pretty young. They don't really have a very robust resume, obviously. They've maybe gone to community college for a couple of years. What advice would you give them if they really want to connect with you guys? The other thing I hear from students now is that a lot of resumes are being screened by bots, so maybe they're not really connecting with the company, and so they get passed over. How would they maximize their chances of connecting with you guys so they can get in and do OPT? What would be your advice there? I mean, is there...
What do you think?
Like, I always tell students, I was in Rotary. I was a Rotary Exchange student when I was in high school, and I have this connection. I think it's a great service organization. I always tell students to get involved with, go to a luncheon or something and meet the business leaders in the community, talk with them face to face, because I think that kind of personal connection is a really positive thing. Would you say that is a smart thing, or do you have other ideas? I know I'm kind of throwing this at you. I didn't really prepare you for this.
This may not be the response, maybe, Evan, that you're looking for, but I can tell you what I'd be looking for.
Sure, yeah, please.
And I'm not the first guy in the company to look at a resume.
Oh, so probably not.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
What I'd be looking for is the match with the core values of the company.
Good.
And whether that means something to the individual that wants to come into the company. And the core values, basically, there's 4 of them that we've identified. One is, I've got this. And the second one is Kaizen, constant improvement. And the third one is results with integrity. And the fourth one is good vibes. Life's too short not to work with people you enjoy working with. Those are our 4 core values. And if we can uncover that in an interview process, you're off to a good start. Nice.
I like that. That's right. So how long did it take you guys to identify those 4 core values?
I love that question. Thank you. We sat through an executive meeting about 3 years ago. And 3 years ago, we had been this family business for over 60 years. And we stepped back and we got a whiteboard out and we started making a list. And what we did is we were all, this was the executive team, we were all thinking about people in the company, in our company, that we looked at as the rock stars in the organization. These are people that really get it. They understand, the opportunity we're involved in here. And we started making a list of their attributes. And we started off with maybe 40 attributes. What was interesting, everybody agreed with who the rock stars are. And some of them had been there a year.
Jim, probably.
And some of them had been there 30 or 40 years.
Wow.
Yeah, Jim being one of them.
40 years?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah. And so we made the list. And then the tough part was distilling it. Was basically getting a list of 40 to 4.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how we got there.
Wow, that's really cool. You said good vibes was the last one, right? So that sounds very West Coast. It does not sound like Midwest to me. I'm surprised that one's on there.
Yeah, it was interesting in terms of getting. I don't know that any of us recognized that was one of our core values. We just sort of. You've heard of the kind of the Midwest hospitality, so it's kind of part of that, part of that structure. I think was, and it's a family business. Yeah. So that's part of it.
Interesting.
Part of it, I think.
So this kind of gives you a little insight into how business works in the United States. I mean, a small glimpse. I hear businesses talk about their North Star, their mission statements. I love this 4 core values kind of thing, but. Do your research, guys. If this is the kind of thing you're maybe interested in, go look around, see if you can connect on that level. I think that's really good advice, actually. So the student you have right now, where are they from? Do you know which country they're from?
Gosh, we
Off the top of my head, I'm thinking of Mongolia, I think, I want to say.
In fact, we now have three.
Yes.
Oh, you do?
Three individuals in the company now from Mongolia. So it's not unusual that somebody coming into the company is coming as a result of a referral from somebody that's already
right. So there you go, guys. Is there a particular type of role that you see international students coming in for more than others? Like we have a lot of computer science majors, we have a lot of business majors, but is there something you're seeing?
In our case, it's been data related and financial.
Gotcha.
In our case, that's
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a student from Kenya that was going to school here. Great guy. He was on the podcast. And he ended up doing OPT in Missouri, which I thought was really interesting. He went to school here, but then he went back there for, I think, an AI company. So you could start here, do 2 years with Seattle colleges, then head out to Kansas City, do your OPT.
So, and we brought up AI, earlier in our conversation here. Yeah. And if I would make a recommendation with respect to that, if I were looking at a resume today, I'd be looking for where is AI in this resume. I'd be looking, and I would be talking to that individual about how are you using AI.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good question.
So that'd be prepared to have that conversation, I think.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I always like to end the podcast by doing a little trivia show. I'm not going to do that, but one of the questions I usually ask for trivia time is, like, what was the last movie you watched? I'd be interested. We talked about Life 2.0. Like, is there a book recommendation you guys might have? Are you reading something? Sounds like you're a reader.
Oh, I like that question too.
Yeah.
In fact, it's very, very appropriate for here. One of my favorite, and I read typically nonfiction.
Yeah, me too.
Is Boys in a Boat.
Oh yeah,
the story
right here,
about that's an incredible story about perseverance, overcoming challenges. I'm an individual that's always interested in the David and Goliath stories.
Me too.
Overcoming adversity, and so that's a wonderful book. Another one I'd highly recommend is called Endurance. That's about Shackleton's expedition to the Antarctica.
I've heard about this book. Yes,
that's also a great book about for anybody interested in leadership and being able to persevere and being able to pivot. That's a great book on the lessons of that. And then the most recent book is Magellan, an entirely different type of leader,
right?
Who also was involved in a very dramatic, significant endeavor
a few years ago.
So those would be the three books that
nice. I love it
right away from me.
Very cool. Yeah, really good. How about you?
So I'll preface with saying that I used to be a more voracious reader, and then I had a child, and so I've got a 3-year-old at home. Yeah, so it's cutting into my reading time.
Now it's all Dr. Spock, probably.
Yeah, I was going to say you got some children's books. You could
a lot of children's books I could recommend.
Seuss is awesome.
Yeah, but I'm actually reading Demon Copperhead, which is a fiction book about a boy in the foster system in rural West Virginia. Which I'm probably the last one in my family to get to it, but so far it's great. I'm really enjoying it. So. You'll have to have me back on in a couple of months when I finish it.
So how old is your child?
3 and 4 months.
3 and 4 months?
3 and 4 months, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
so you're probably very sleep deprived right now.
Yeah, well, one of the good things about a business trip is
you get to catch up on
sleep. Catch up on sleep, yeah.
I had 3 boys. You have 2 kids, you said?
2 kids and 3 grandsons.
Oh, wow. Cool, good for you. But yeah, those 3 kids, I was like sleep deprived for 2 decades, I think. It was just, because boys are just go. It's amazing.
He's an energetic little guy. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
Your 4-year-old, you said 4?
3 and change.
3, okay.
3 and change.
So what's their favorite book? What do you read at night with them?
Ooh.
Just out of curiosity.
We're reading a really cute book right now called Acorn.
Okay.
And it's about Acorn falls from the oak tree, or he essentially jumps from the oak tree before he's ready to do so, and goes on a big adventure and grows into an oak. It's very cute.
Awesome.
But we do, he's a boy through and through. A lot of trucks. A lot of construction vehicles. Yeah. Cool.
One of my favorite books, not that you guys care, but one of my favorite books for my kids was The Sneetches by Dr. Seuss. I just love that book. I think there's a lot of great things in there. A lot of good lessons about diversity in life and that kind of thing. So, cool. Well, I know there's probably 100 questions I should have asked you that I didn't. But I think we got some really great information. Anything on the insurance side you want to make sure that you get out there that I didn't ask you? I mean, there were a lot of things I know I sent you that I would probably ask you, but we're already out of time. Anything that's super critical that you want to make sure I get out there?
The only thing that I think I would add, and this is kind of when I come to a school to do orientation, the main thing that I always want students to take away is that we're here to help. Right, so I can talk about what your copay is for this or how much is covered for that, and it's confusing, right?
It's
particularly confusing with the different system and the different culture and terminology and so on.
Right.
We're here to help, whether it is understanding the coverage, finding a doctor, getting their ID card. Our team will get on the phone with that student and make an appointment with a doctor with them. And so
cool.
Use our chat, use our team. We're here to help and make this less confusing and less overwhelming. So if that's the one kind of critical thing that I can give you, we're here to help.
Yeah, I mean, I could get into the weeds about what's covered, what's not covered, but in the end, just having someone you can read out to is super great. Nice. Well, guys, I really appreciate you coming on the show. It's so nice to have something a little different, something so important for our students, something like health insurance is really great. And don't forget about the scholarship. Check out their website. Thanks so much for coming. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
This has been great. Thank you.
And thank you guys for joining us right here every Wednesday. We will have lots more coming. This is our 4th season. It'll be 5, 6 seasons. Keep coming back. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a great time while you're here in Seattle. Welcome to the big city. Take care, guys. Bye-bye. Conversations With is painstakingly crafted for you by the Seattle College's International Programs Department and supported by the lovely folks here on our campus. This show is produced and edited by me, Evan Franulovich. We welcome your emails and questions about coming to Seattle Colleges. Please reach out to us via our website or just give us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts, as this helps others discover the show. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or YouTube at Seattle Colleges INTL. That's Seattle Colleges INTL. And be sure to check out all of the shows here on Conversations With. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.